Thank you, Kyle. If this is a little disjointed, bear with me. I appreciate Cindy Anderson's comments of a few years ago about the widespread nature of panic on a late Saturday night, which I have experienced. So, happy Thanksgiving. Hope yours was wonderful. Ours was amazing. We had guests who are French expatriates living now in New York, recently in London, and they wanted to experience a real Thanksgiving because in France, they don't celebrate Thanksgiving. And in Gus and Angel's family, they are not unlike a lot of C3 households. Dad is Protestant. Sylvie is devoutly Catholic. They've traced the family lineage back 7 generations. And something like 60 or 70% of their ancestors went into Catholic orders, either nuns or priests. So there are no descendants. So the Monod line is sort of dying out. At any rate, so to try and explain Thanksgiving to someone who doesn't celebrate it, I went back to study some history, some perspective, and was immediately confounded by the difference between Pilgrims, Puritans, the Wampanoag, who were the natives, and refugees. So when Henry needed a divorce, he decided he didn't need a pope, and he became pope himself and got a divorce, which was very convenient. But a certain part of the religious community in England disliked this. So when the Church of England was formed, the Puritans decided that it was way too Catholic. It was a lot like Catholicism without the Pope, which, okay, that works if you need a divorce. But the Church of England hounded them out of England by appropriating property, jobs, etc. And at that time, the Dutch were very much more tolerant of many religions. So this small group of Brits moved to Leiden and practiced their version of a congregational church. Now, this is all going to sound familiar, people. There is no prayer book, no formal creed or belief statements, and the head of the church isn't a pope or a king, but Christ as revealed in the scriptures. Sabbath worship doesn't include sermons or preaching, but extemporaneous testifying of the Holy Spirit. As an organizing principle, congregational churches are bound together by a covenant to make decisions democratically, including the selection of religious leaders. Sound familiar? We've been here. Now, there's another perspective, which is a little harder to share, and that is of the Wampanoag, who were at that time coming on the end of what they called the Great Dying, where something like 70% of the tribe had died due to diseases for which they were not immune. Their territory was being encroached on by other tribes in the area. The Algonquins and the Iroquois wanted more territory, fewer Wampanoag, more Iroquois. So it works out, unless you're a Wampanoag. And so, unlike our celebration of Thanksgiving, the Wampanoag celebrate a memorial for 400 years to all of their tribe members who have died as a result of the Europeans showing up. Now, again, perspective from this French family who doesn't celebrate Thanksgiving. Why do you eat all that stuff? Where does that come from? What was the first meal? And the records of the first meal were whatever was abundant, like harvest celebrations that have gone on for thousands of years, including for the Wampanoag, who were in their area for roughly 12,000 years before the Europeans showed up. And so whatever was abundant was deer, swans, geese, ducks, seafood, squash, peas, pumpkins. Yeah, pretty much what we had. No pumpkin pie. And so why do we eat all this stuff? And Gus, the man of the expatriate house, said, oh, well, there's research that says your appetites are triggered either by something in your brain or something in your stomach, which is your bacterial flora in your stomach saying, feed me this or feed me that. And one piece of research I read, which I found disturbing, is that there were, in rats that were being experimented on, there were chocolate desiring rats and chocolate indifferent rats. Can you imagine chocolate indifferent? I don't know, but apparently my bacteria are of the first kind. And so, to shorten this up, because I had way too much reading, to segue into Kent's teaching of the morning, is there something in our brains seeking Kent's teachings as a sort of soul food, satisfying our hunger for knowledge that Kent brings us every week? And with that, happy Thanksgiving. Thank you.